A very, very good afternoon or early evening to all of you who are watching. This is my channel, Arunfoot. This is Anava Chaudhary, and it's Friday, June the 6th, 2025. And I'm doing my usual live show a little earlier than usual. I'll be playing myself a little bit of football this evening for a good cause, and therefore doing the show a little earlier because I think we need to talk on what's all happening, not happening in Indian football, what should be happening in Indian football. And I'm just, not clear where are we heading with this, and we need to look at those facts and see what's happening. Tickets as they are returning back to their sort of I say sorry to use these words, but don't want to use, but to seeing this kind of performance from 24 is not in good mood. So I know you are one of those who always are positive, say we need to support the team and all that. And I think we need to support our team. Yes, we need to support the boys as much as we can. Period. There is no conversation about that. But I think that if I look at the current scenario, if I look at the current situation that we are in, then we need to ask the questions why we are in it. I did in the morning watch the 2-hour video of Ashish Negi from Kiel Now, and Ashish mentions, a lot of points. And it's good that he speaks about it. You can see the frustration that he has, the disappointment that he has. But you know what I will then say is, sorry guys, I've been saying this for the last 2 years, and a lot of people don't want to listen. So we need to be honest to ourselves. This has been coming, and we've not been addressing this. So therefore, let's see. देखना पाएगा सौरभ भाई तुम्हें अच्छा लगे बुरा लगे. Zidan, that's the problem. And you also mentioned Uzbekistan and Jordan qualify for the World Cup. I'm actually just a few minutes ago, I recorded a video for tomorrow in regard to that topic, where I said what Indian football needs to learn from Uzbekistan, Jordan, and Indonesia. Different pathways of development, in my opinion. And therefore, I think that, there is no one way to success. There is no a plan A to success. We need to build an Indian way. But we also need to look around us and say, who is doing what? Who is taking what path? What steps to develop, to evolve? And that's very, very important. And I think if we do the right things, we can grow. Our U23 preparations look good as compared to senior national team. Mayank, how do you say that? Interesting point of view from you, but I would like to know, how do you get to that observation that the under 23 camp is better than the senior camp? And that is a simple way. Looking at videos, looking at photos, always very difficult to judge. If you, out of own experience, haven't traveled with the Indian senior and junior national teams, if you are not there, if you are not physically there day in, day out, you will not really know what the mood is in a camp. I remember once the mood was really, really bad, but the photos showcases it's hunky-dory, everything is fine. So therefore, that is my thing about, also, as I always say, is know who your sources are, know who you're listening to, know who's saying what. A lot of people are claiming a lot of things. And I also say you don't need to believe me, right? But I always say is that what I am telling you all, I speak out of experience, out of knowledge. If I do not know something, I say, sorry, I do not watch this enough, or I don't know this, or I don't know that. Which a lot of people don't want to be. So that is part of our problem, that everyone wants to be part of the conversations. Everybody wants to be, part of this. And when you go a little deeper into these topics, it becomes an issue. It is a problem. How are you, sir? Hope you're having a nice day. Good afternoon as of Germany, and good evening from India. Yes, good afternoon, good evening, maybe good morning to some others, wherever you are in the world. It's good because in in about 2.5, 3 hours, I'll be playing football myself for a good cause. Sort of a Legends X-Pro tournament here that we're having. It's a long weekend and there's a lot of football. So let's see that I have to put my football boots on and maybe I can take out my frustration in regard to Indian football out on the football field. Krishav says, hi, now that it's looking like Manolo will resign after the next match, do you think AIFF will go through the whole process of appointing a new coach, or will they look for a coach within? Krishav, and you add, and what do you think the realistic options are? I think there are two sides to what you are asking. Manolo will go. I'm quite certain about it. I think it would be a shock if Manolo suddenly says, you know what, guys, hey, I'm staying. I don't see that happening. That is one. Two is that I think that I don't even know how the AIFF is going to do the process. To me, that I mean, we are in such a state that some people, oh, you know what, they're going to try and go for an Indian coach. I know that is going to be the first thing, but I know also that within the AIFF, then the conversations will start, right? And it's going to be very interesting to see how the whole process will take place. Is it going to be like last time where you mention, hey, and then you put out something, and then in the end, actually the process doesn't really take place. You actually look around for coaches who've actually been in the ISL or been in Indian football, and then you decide on Manolo, or you, so therefore for me, I would hope that they go for a foreign coach and someone with international experience. I think Manolo Marquez, I've said this in the last few days, I like him as a coach, but as a national coach, he's a misfit. It's not, also with the problems within the AIFF, I think that's something which is very, very evident, very, very visible, that it is not fitting the way that Manolo likes to work. You know, he's worked in tough times at Hyderabad. I think we shouldn't forget that. But at the moment, the AIFF is structured in such a way that I think it's quite difficult to get things done in the way that we would like the AIFF to operate and run and function. What do you mean by the Indian way? Krishav, I think we need to look around the world. Again, let's start from the beginning. We need to create a foundation, right? And for me, I think the most important thing is that if I look around what is available, what is being done, if we try to copy the Japanese model, we will not be able to implement that, because Japan, very organized, very structured. If we look now at Uzbekistan, we look at Jordan, we look at Indonesia, they're all different models. We should try and take out things that would work in the Indian system, right? Again, one of the things, what do we learn from Indonesia? It's PIOs and OCIs, that we get players of origin to finally represent us. I think that is a very, 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 very key point that we need to work on, that we need to find ways of how to get players of origin to represent us, because otherwise we are not going to be able to go that step and move forward. That is one. Uzbekistan, grassroots and youth development, that has been a focus. And if I see Jordan also, that is one, but also the top Jordanian players play outside of Jordan. I mean, interestingly, Hijaji Maher, who has had a decent first season and a bad second season, has been in and around the Jordan national team, right? So you know, and he's regarded not good enough to be for the ISL. So therefore, these are things that we have to see, elements from Europe, from South America, from Africa, wherever there are elements which work in an Indian context. But for that to all work together, we need to have the right leadership at the top. The AIFF needs to have the right leadership in regard to a president, in regard to a secretary general, general secretary, how you want to call it. I still feel and believe that we need to create a position of a CEO in the AIFF who actually runs this. And on the other side also, it is on the clubs and everybody else to do the work at grassroots and youth level. That is something which the AIFF will not be able to do it. It is on the clubs and the grassroots, and this is where the whole Indian football ecosystem has failed. AIFF to start with, but everybody else involved in it has failed in that. Zidan says Uzbekistan is consistently working very hard since the 80s. Well, it's not just Yusuf. Yeah, okay. King Indonesia took the shortcut. Zidan, not 80s, 90s, because Uzbekistan only gained independence from the Soviet Union at the time. But they have a system that they've worked with, and they've always, brought up big talents. I mean, I remember an player, Igor Shivirin, who came to Mohun Bagan and won the NFL in 2002, if I'm not wrong, right? With Steven Abrova and a very, very young Jose Ramirez Barreto. Right, so therefore they've been there. Indonesia has taken the shortcut, yes, but they're also doing grassroots and youth level. Because why? Indonesia is qualified for the Under-17 World Cup. So Indonesia is trying to bridge those two sides, right? On one side, do your grassroots, do your youth development. How do you fast track the process? Bring it together. That's what Indonesia has done, and this is, I think, that what we need to learn. Good evening, Shagun. Welcome back. Uzbeks were always a good side. 1994 Asian Games gold medal. Coach Rustam Akramov, he coached India too, signifies that the best coach might not give you the best results. Ochut, I remember Akramov and I worked together with Islam Akhmedov, who is now coaching, who was technical director of the Uzbeks as well. And he was the coach of the under-17, under-16, under-19s, and then under-17s who nearly qualified for the World Cup. So the Uzbeks actually have had good coaches, very clear, very strict disciplinarians as well. And from that perspective, yeah, it has helped us in the past. The question is how can we utilize that? But as you say, Akramov wanted certain things, and at that time the AIFF could not provide it to him. Can AIFF take a major decision like appointing a national team coach before Supreme gives a verdict, or at least the process can be started? Uchud, a very valid question. I don't think they're allowed to take that decision. And maybe that is also a reason why the AIFF is desperately trying to hang on to Manolo, because they're not in a position to actually appoint Manolo's replacement. Last year on this day, we were praying so that we qualify for third round of World Cup qualifiers, and now we're at that situation for one match only to qualify for Asian Cup. In football, biggest downfall 1 year. It's not. You know what? Last year, I'll be very, very honest, even though I was hoping for it, it was a false hope. Let's be honest about it. And our problems were visible. Even if you take that away match against Kuwait, how many chances did we have? But we scored. So if we look at the Thailand game, if Changte score of that, or even that Sunil header goes in by any chance, and it gives us a different result, we might be talking differently. But the problems that we have in the Indian football ecosystem do not go away. That is my big concern, that we need to talk about left, right, and center. Yeah, that's the problem. And therefore, yeah, Uzbek defender is in Manchester City. Yes, Kosanov at Man City. And there you see, right, Uzbekistan goes to Belarus, goes to France, to RC Lens, and from Lens now has gone to Manchester City. Yeah. So do you think the coaches who applied for the last time will be encouraged enough to apply for this time, as how the process unfolded last time? Krishav, yes, because there are enough coaches around the world who will apply. So the question is, does the AIFF have the budget? Who's the process? I mean, technical committee would be a question, right? Is the technical committee in a position actually to decide on who's supposed to be our new coach? Simple question. To me, is the technical committee good enough to take that decision, to take that call and say, this guy should be a national team coach, or these guys should be in our top 5? So therefore, yeah, there's a lot of questions that can be asked. Right, 50 minutes. Quick reminder, guys, 18, 19, 20 of you watching, if you're liking the conversation, do leave a like behind. 8 likes so far, thank you very much. Share with other people to join in the conversations. And if you're new and you're watching maybe for the first time and you're liking, yeah, do subscribe. We're at 2,609. Thank you very, very much. And those who might be new, subscribe and ask the questions, and I try to answer all your questions that are posted over here. And also watch the short videos. Did something today, what's next, Indian football national team, just to thing yesterday, had the thing about India disappointing. Tomorrow I'll do something on this. What can India learn from Uzbekistan, from Jordan, from Indonesia? Watch those videos, support the channel, and thank you as always. I think it's foolish hope for anything, because other countries are far ahead of us. We're just in figuring out process when other countries are far ahead. Football isn't in the DNA. I don't think that. PC gamer tag, it is not a DNA thing that it is in our or not. I think Indian football's problem. Our problem is our administration, our clubs, our system, our coaches, and you don't want to talk about it. I think one point, again, watching Ashish Negi's video, I think one point which was not really discussed in a detail, but which I would add as a sub point, would be the coaches. Across the board, we glorify failed coaches, right? Or systems which are not working. And those are the conversations which you need to have to really develop. I do not think that the Thais, the Indonesians, the Vietnamese, whatever, Malays are better than us. So we need to do our homework, or otherwise, seeing the current situation serious, whether the Indian football will even exist in June 2026. Let's see nothing. I think Indian football will survive. What will be there next year? That's a different question. But Indian football will surely survive. I can tell you that with full belief. Yeah, that's what I feel. Football is in the DNA of Northeast, if not mainland India. Zidane, I think if it is in the DNA or not doesn't matter. If you have a player who is going to be world class, will take your country XYZ. I heard yesterday, someone told me, not heard, someone told me yesterday, said, oh, this talent, that talent, this and that, whatever. And it's like, guys, I recently, when I was in Spain, I was watching under 10s, and I do watch, I watch this weekend a lot of youth football Germany at a lower level. The Spanish are on a different level. The under 10s, if you see the way they are playing football, how it is organized, that's the reality. So why don't the players openly tell the reason for the performance when they play better than this? I say, what's stopping them from confronting and making clear to fans whether to play or not? I think there are two things. I think, as I say, there are team issues in the team, I think. And the second thing, which is very, very evident to me, is that if you have foreigners next to you, you will be better. If you have foreigners playing with you, next to you, you are better. And this is something which I think is a challenge for Manolo Marquez to figure out A, B, C, D, which player is capable of playing international football. If I have Vishal Keth in goal, doesn't work. To me, Abhishek has talent, but he's not ready for international football. Ayush Chetri does not start for me. Anwar Ali is not the Anwar Ali used to be. So I've got already 4 names on my list. It's interesting, Ashik Kurunian getting a lot of stick, but I, on my side, thought Ashik Kurunian gave us something which we didn't have, because Ashik was willing to do those meters, which are creative players don't do. A Sahal doesn't do that. A Brandon doesn't do that. So therefore, he gave us legs. So therefore, yeah. Yes, Uzbekistan depends in the 90s, but Uzbek teams were competing in Soviet leagues. Yes, Roshan, they were. Buyandok, Pakhtakor, big teams even in Soviet era days. And of course, Uzbek players were part of the Soviet national team as well, of the Soviet Union. So not to be on any side, but what's your view on how given most of the players of origin, do you think that we have to search for long? Yes, they are. Krishav, as I said, to me, the Indonesian model is on one side, develop your own players, but the point is, if Indonesia makes it to the World Cup, if they do in the end, football will explode in that country. Most of the kids will now say, I want to be a footballer. I want to play the World Cup. So therefore, even grassroots youth football will explode in Indonesia. There will be new money coming into the system. So therefore, I don't understand this whole PIO OCI discussion and say, oh, you know what, it will harm Indian football. No, it will help. So, yeah. Igor Shekwirin, who won the NFL from what was known as Maradona of independent Uzbekistan. Yeah, which is, yeah, very good. Thank you. That is, what a player. I remember, I saw that guy with Steven Avrova and Barreto. Brilliant, huh? Brilliant players. Wait, Indonesia qualified U17 World Cup as host? No, not at host. Qatar is hosting it. We need coach who has good number of caps as player in national team and played in the backline. Why play backline? Guys, why are we trying to restrict ourselves? Why that's why I also said the other day, why talk about nationalities, right? Yeah, so Indonesia is one of, if I look, Qatar is host nation. We've got Saudis, Uzbekistan, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, UAE, North Korea, and Tajikistan playing in the Under-17 World Cup from Asia. Our players' body language is like they're continuously smiling, which shows they're not serious and they don't have regret on face when they miss chances. How are they even professional players? There are different, again, you have this, and if that for me is not a judging point of how a player is looking or facing, to be very honest, because in Germany, for example, used to be in the past huge criticism about Mesut Özil. Mesut Özil always has this phrase like, I'm sleepy, I'm groggy, I'm gonna go off, right? So I don't buy that point. Why Manolo is ruining his name before leaving the national team? He plays with a two-man midfield which gets dominated every game. He knowingly doesn't include technical players in the lineup. Like, why? Ashish, to answer your second question, he's he has technical players in there, right? Ayush Chetri is more of a technical player. I think what he needed were destroyers. Suresh, Nikhil, even call up a Deepak Tangri. I don't think we need technical players. I would rather play with two destroyers and put Apuya in front of them, because Apuya is going to give you the legs, but Apuya potentially can give you the creativity as well. So I agree with you. That midfield, that two-man midfield makes no sense. So the question is, do you play a 4-2-3-1? Do you play a 3-5-2? What do you do? Right? And is he ruining his name? I don't think so, because just a few weeks ago he won the Super Cup. So at club level, I think nobody will question him. I think most ISL teams would love to sign Manolo Marquez as their head coach. As a national team coach, yes, there he has, I wouldn't say destroyed his name, but ruined maybe is a better word. Even whatever he does against Hong Kong, right? If we coach, we have to seriously coach for it as well, or else it will be the same. Zidane, we need different coaches. Under 17, under 20, under 23, and then senior level. And I would prefer, to be very, very honest, because I've seen the youth teams, for example, under Nico Adam here in Germany, and Nikolai, great coach. So therefore, yeah. Hi, Harry. I think we can stretch with interim coach till the qualifiers. I know we need new foreign coach really fast. If you ask me, if Manolo leaves next week, I think I would get in a coach quickly. Otherwise, who are we going to go with? Maj Goli as interim coach for the rest of the qualifiers? Let's say we lose against Hong Kong. Let's take the worst case scenario, and Manolo leaves next week. Are we then saying that we will have Maj Goli as a coach? According to Ashish Nigel, there are certain players not giving the 100% feeling and niggle that could hamper their performance for the club. Can you please name some of these players? Ashish, I've heard names, but as Ashish has done, I will not divulge names. I think that is not fair. If I don't know it 100%, I'm not going to speculate with names. I've heard this as well about quite a number of players, but as I said, I don't know for 100%. And even if I would know, I wouldn't put out the names like that because I don't think it's fair. Hi, Ashley. Kalyan must have already shortlisted the future coach. I don't think so. So inspiration that you're now even playing football with so much enjoyment instead of people in there avoiding to even jog outside home and just sitting so bad lifestyle. Keep it up. So thanks. Listen, for me, again, football as a sport or sport in general, doesn't matter, is something that you can watch on one side, yes, 100%. But on the other side also that you play, right? For me, sports is not something that it's something practical for me. If I'm talking about football, yeah, I have to know the game, right? I know that at my age, I'm not the youngest anymore. I am not as good as I would have been most probably 20 or 25 years ago, but still I enjoy playing it. And I know tomorrow morning I will feel my muscles, my body, because I'm not at the fitness level I should be. And it's quite fresh over here as well. It's about 14, 15 degrees. But hey, like Chetty should have retired early on. That's also one of the problems. No, I don't think so. Zidane, I think the reality is that we have a lot of late bloomers. And if, what can I blame Sunil for? Sunil at BFC is scoring a lot of those goals. Why? Because he's getting those crosses, those passes from Ryan Williams and from others, from Pedro Mendes and others. So my problem is not Sunil. Who are you going to put in there? Suhail, Bhatt, David, Edmund? We're not scoring anyway. Then we don't need to even play, because then we just play, on one goal and that's ours. That logic doesn't apply to me. I mean, if anyone who says that, sorry, Sunil needed to come back. We need him. But if we're going to do it, let's see. Sir, lately I've been seeing that young Indians are moving to foreign leagues regardless of their tiers. What can a realistic path for others to make it better leagues? Keshav, no one's going to get into better leagues. All these, it's lovely to see players going into 4th, 5th, 6th tier football, right? There was even a story in a Bengali paper about someone going to a team in Berlin. Then I checked in Berlin with someone which league, and this is a former player of of the Calcutta Football League, right, of the CFL. It turned out to be the 13th division. 13th division, right? So therefore, for me, good for the boys, but that is how much of experience do they have? Are they really capable of playing international football? We've had 2 examples, Jay Gupta and Ishan Pandita. 5th, 6th tier of Spanish football. Can they survive for a long term at a national team setup? Doesn't look like. So what can we really do? That does new constitution and new electoral regime will make it better? We can't keep on talking. We have to do something. Then the constitution is the danger of a FIFA ban. So go back to that point. That has me worried at this moment in time. If you ask me, I am very, very worried. And new people, I remember I said in 2022 before we got banned, right? If you think that the new regime will certainly be better than the old one, let's see. And it's proved that. I knew those people, I've seen their work, and I have a lot of respect, especially for Kushal and for Sunando and a lot of people who worked at the time in the AIFF. They were certainly not perfect, but they were trying to keep the system alive. And then came COVID, then came the FIFA ban, then came the elections. And since it's been like this in the last, and We had this bubble in 2023 where Eagles team had sold, we won the Tri-Nation, we won the Intercontinental, we won SAF. And I remember I said that even 2022, when we beat Hong Kong 4-0 in Kolkata, I was there. And I remember Randy was sitting next to me. Randy even gave an interview to the AIFF. He said, you know what? We won 4-0, but this game could have ended differently, right? So that is the reality. At least we're getting results. At this moment, we're not even getting results. So that's the question. Now, I think there is nothing in Manolo's hands. Instead of monitoring only FC Goa performance and players is going to resign from national team, would not be serious about this team now already so frustrated. I don't think that is the case. If Manolo is is a serious coach, and if he's doing the job, he will try and do his best. But as with coaches, I mean, I'll take a German example. Julian Nagelsmann also 2 days ago, wrong substitutions, and therefore Germany lost to Portugal. So it happens. Mistakes in lineups, in tactics happen. And for that, international football experience is needed. If Manpreet take Indian passport, some rumors. Rushva, if you're talking about Manpreet Sakaria, Manpreet can take an Indian passport, but Manpreet Sakaria has played an official Euro qualifier for Austria, so he's no longer eligible for us. Football is huge in Southeast Asia. I've seen it with my eyes. Yeah, Zidan, I've seen it myself. I've seen it in Malaysia. Massive. And this is something that people underestimate. OCIPA won't happen anytime soon, so let's not hope for that. We don't even have a league that's proper. We don't have leagues. Since when? The ISL is no proper league. The I-League is no proper league. Right? And OCIPA, let's see. The talk is more. The only question, shortest target for Indian team is at least do a good performance at try and best way possible to win against Hong Kong for survival national team. What's our chances against them? I saw some highlights from the Hong Kong Nepal match. So football, anything is possible. The question is if the players are going to pick themselves up and do something with it, or if, let's say, Liston, a Changte or a Sunil, with those chances created score goals. Simple as that. Football sometimes can be very, very simple. And that's the question of, can we get the result, the desired result that we want, that we need for us, right? And that's a question. Uzbekistan allow outside player who play England, France, league, some player who plays allow origin play Europe. Pushpa, yes, they have players in Europe. And in the past, they've had, for example, German origin players, Uzbek origin players from Germany playing for them, yes. One of the main problems is overage players. I know personally most of the players who beat Bangladesh and Archer are 2-3 years older, even actually is very high. Gokul, yeah, that's a problem. No doubt about it. But what we also, the one point is, we don't seem to have players at 16, 17, 18 breaking through the system. I don't know, a Baichung Bhutia. Baichung, even if he wasn't, paper, I think he was 15, 16 when he made the breakthrough at East Bengal, right? I don't see that these days, right? That there is this exceptional boy that makes it. That's what I said a few weeks ago when I did a video. Now, how long ago did I do that video? When did I do that video? 2 weeks ago, no? Why doesn't India produce players like Baichung Bhutia, Ambij, and Sunil Chhetri? Just go through it. I mean, I asked that question, simple question. I've not seen a player of the technical ability of Ambij. I've not seen a player with the grit determination that a Baichung have and the tenacity of a Sunil Chhetri. So that's the thing. So that's, I have players who we make club stars, and this is something I think Ashish said very, very well yesterday. That club fans are defending their own players against criticism. Especially Mohun Bagan fans are trying to defend the indefensible. And I say it doesn't matter who the club is that these players play for. If they play bad, call out the player that is played bad. Very simple. It doesn't matter X, Y, Z. If someone is not performing, you have to call it out. ISL coach fails, foreign coach fails, and if players do same, logically and overall no solution by Indian coaches to improve team. Please do the shortest thing, make young players play for national team, please. Have you seen our under 20s and our under 17s in the recent past? Simple question. Have you seen in the last year or two? Where are the young players? If you are now saying, okay, I take all the seasoned players out and I put a young team on, what will you say if that team then loses 6, 7, 8 nil? Are you fine with that? Or are you then next day going to call for those experienced players to come back? A national team cannot be a testing ground. If only I have a functioning structure in the national team, I have 1 or 2 players that I can try and take along and try to develop. Otherwise, I need a finished product to play in the national team. The national team is not an area where you develop. My development should be happening at under 17, under 20, under 23 level. Jordan football player playing up top league origin. Yeah, that's also true. I don't agree Manolo is a good coach. He wins the league super because of foreign players, struggles with Indian players. Isn't that evident enough? PC Game Attack. So then, if Manolo is no good coach, so then as per your logic, Khalid Jamil is no good coach. Molina is not a good coach. Who else? Manolo has developed enough young players to a certain level. Look at Hitesh Sharma, Ritik Tiwari at the moment, Ayush Chetri. Yeah, so I can't agree with you on that. Indonesia win again, yeah, against China, yeah, 1-0, and are closing in. Have qualified for the 4th round. Let's see if they can qualify for the final round. Sorry. Good evening, Simon. Habas would be better coach than most and no-nonsense coach. Yeah, and he has international experience, which is shown against for Bolivia, right? Ballon d'Or winner for you, and Yamal showed he's a real champion winner. What a performance! No, it's Yamal versus Messi and Felisa, and Yamal, Ronaldo, and UNL finals. Who do you think will win UNL? I honestly don't know who's my Ballon d'Or. Is Yamal really that level? Difficult. Let's wait the Club World Cup. I think Ousmane Dembele gets into that conversation, some sort of form where if you also saw him play some of the passes. But yeah, I honestly don't know. We are in a transitional period, right? If yesterday France had, for example, won, maybe Mbappe with his 31 goals for Real Madrid comes into discussion. I don't know. If not Manolo, then who is it? Khalid also better than this current national team. Sinan, I don't think our 23s are better than the national team. I think that is also a false friend that a lot of people have, that the younger players are better than the older ones. We have a systematic problem, and that this is something that a lot of people don't want to understand, that the older players are actually better. And then we talk, we've got this gangs and this and that and whatever, blah 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 blah. You have it in every team, right? If this is said, that you have cliques, that you have groups in a team, is the most normal thing in the world. If you've got 20, 25, 30, 35 players, is the most normal thing. If that's not happening in a team and everybody's on their own, then you have a problem, then you don't have a team. So these team dynamics, I find it very interesting. I don't know, most people have never been in a team or been part of a team, Sri Lanka win against Brunei, not using full origin level. Yeah, Rusha, they're heading to it, huh? They're heading towards that. Hi, Aditya. What do you think about Ashish Negi last stream listening about this agent nexus that's going on? Aditya, I sympathize with Ashish. Because why? Because he's been through a lot in the last few years. I understand it that he's got a company to run. And there are a lot of nexus in there. No? There's the club nexus, there's an academy nexus, then the agent nexus, then this nexus, then that nexus. We have too many people who take care of themselves and rather take care of Indian football. That is our curse at this moment in time, why we are struggling in Indian football. I personally believe That is our biggest problem at this moment in time. Yeah. And to me, if we don't sort out these things, we will not progress. Ashish mentioned a lot of problems. Yeah. Certain things. I mean, for example, the national team problem that he mentioned, right? The travel plans. I remember that happened on one tour where, you could have taken 2 flights and would have been there, and then they did a 52-hour flights, and the players were literally more than 2 days on the road. So, yeah. Bangladesh win against Bhutan, says Vishwa. Yeah. My proposition is now that we need early bloomers to survive in football, at least today. Yeah, but where are the early bloomers? Right? The problem is, I said this yesterday, a lot of players who are good at under 13, under 15, under 17 level, especially those who are good at under 13 level, rarely make it to the top. That's a global phenomenon. So the question is, how are we filtering through an understanding? My thing is, what I always see in Indian football is, because I want to be successful at the current level, I don't see a player and say, okay, this boy is 12 years old or 13 years old. Can I see him being a professional at 18, 19, 20? That's the problem. Short-sightedness, because I want success now rather than looking at, okay, and this guy become a professional. Right? That's why I say the last player that I've seen in the last decade or more that I would say has the potential to do more has been Lalin Zola Chankte. That's why I, with friends, helped him to get the trial at Viking Stavanger, Norway in 2019. And I think Chankte could have been at a higher level if he had gone there. He didn't go there. So, so therefore, I don't see any kids at that level at the moment. I hope that I'm proven wrong. I honestly tell you, I often want to be proven wrong, but Indian football, with the knowledge, understanding, and experience that I have, more than often I am proven right. A lot of things, for example, it's just logical. Singapore was Bangladesh. Your thoughts and prediction? I have not seen enough of Singapore to be able to judge that. Let me be honest. Not seen enough of Singapore. Bangladesh has done well for itself, but now playing at home in Singapore, it's advantage Bangladesh. And anything but a Bangladesh win would surprise me. So are we staring at a possible FIFA banning us again? Then we are cooked. Simon, yes, we are. There is the potential there, and I think looking at the scenario, it might not be the worst thing to happen. Sorry, I'll be very honest with you. We are in a mess. We're in a huge mess, and the question is, how can we get out of this mess? How can we move forward? And and we need to be honest to ourselves, right? So therefore, for me, big questions. And now with the Indian boy in Berlin is Bezirksliga, right? Not even proper coverage from that on football apps from that level, I guess. No, Roshan, he was actually Kreisliga C in Berlin. I don't know if you know, but you can Fußball.de or FUPA. There you can even get coverage from the lower divisions, which are Kreisliga A, B, C, or D sometimes. I think this all will collapse. Aditya, let's wait and see. I don't think so. Indian football has been in bad phases, and it's always survived. Nepal draw against Hong Kong. Rushwa, good result for Nepal. Very, very good result in friendly. Do you agree with what Ashish Negi had said yesterday? Now, Siddharth, yeah, most of it, yes. There's one or the other thing which I wouldn't agree with him. There's a different opinion, especially on that OCI thing. I think the OCI thing for us could have been a lifeline now for the last 2 decades, and help Indian football grow. But otherwise, factually, those things are right. The one other thing, again, we couldn't discuss. I think the coaches need to be questioned a little bit more also. But let's see. Seems like whatever system we had in place during the Constantine days had been single-handedly crippled and destroyed under this regime. Just 3 years. If they stay longer, we may cease to exist. Simon, it is not only the Constantine factor. It's, I think, the Igor Stimac factor. I think Igor has not done us a favor. Sorry, Igor. To be very clear on that. Can you shed some light on the situation of academies in India? Are they good enough for our aspirations? No, they're not. I mean, what we are producing today. My question is, and this is not just in the men's game, but in the women's game, with academies, football schools, with the clubs doing this and that and everything, we're producing worse talent than 20 years ago. Illogical. To me, the Tata Football Academy, run by Ranjan Chaudhary and other people, Ranjan Chaudhary as the head coach, produced better talent. Those 25 boys coming out every 2 years as cadets from the Tata Football Academy are better products than what we're producing thousands of kids every year. Is the lowest you ever seen your footy in your lifetime? Well, I don't know if it's the lowest of the lowest, but it feels like it. Because in the past, again, 2015, we were at low point. Stephen came in, 172 ranked. We lost to Guam. It looked really bad. But the AIFF kept calm and quiet. Stephen was allowed to work and build. Now we don't have those structures. That's the problem. It is not, the national team looks like a broken team. I was in the past, when I used to go to the national team, even 2019, I went to the camp, spoke to the players, even under Stimach. I remember the night after we drew Qatar in Doha. I was there. I watched the match in the evening. I was there. Abhishek Yadav invited me, a game over Santa. I had a long conversation with Nico Stimach about the future. And I felt, okay, this gentleman could, even I was fooled. I realized, yeah, seems like something we could be done. But it wasn't. Right? So for us, and Ashish Negi spoke about something yesterday about Lakshya. I spoke about it yesterday as well. Lakshya was a brilliant plan. He said 30%. No, I would go even lower. If we'd done 10% of what was in the Lakshya plan from Rob Bahn and others, we would not be in the situation we are in today. Because implementation is the biggest failure. And the problem is that you can blame the AIFF for all these things. But the implementation of talent development lies with the clubs, with the academies, and also with the state associations. Yeah? India need to follow Uzbekistan system football, only solution. No, Rushwa, no. Because we're not Uzbekistan. This is the problem. We cannot follow a system and say, you're going to do this. You have to pick and choose what is good for Uzbekistan, which works in India. Pick and choose maybe what works in Jordan, what maybe works in Indonesia, in Japan, in Korea, in Europe, in South America. We need to figure out an Indian system. If we need Sunil to drop in and do the playmaking like he did against the Thai recently, who's going to go up and finish? Our players are very poor in that. Rather, why not we keep Brandon and let Sunil do his work? Harry, I feel that the idea from the coach, which I'm actually not adverse to, the one idea which I liked is that he thought he's going to get the legs of an Ashik to run and create something. That is something which I thought, nice idea. Didn't work out for different reasons, but that's something which is there. So what's the opinion of Vachaputi on OCI? Honestly, I haven't asked Bhutia about it in the recent past. I remember in the past he was open to it. I don't know what his current opinion on it is. What do you really think of Indian football future? Will everything end or something be good in coming years? See, if I would say the point to me is, at the end of the day, which way are we heading? My concern is, at this moment in time, with all that's happening in the AIFF, national team, Reliance, general overall, women, look at women's football, youth football. We need dramatic change. We need drastic changes. Yeah. And it needs to be across the board. It cannot just be that we say, you know what, we're going to change 5 people here, 5 people there, and then things will work out. I don't think so. I think we need a system overhaul at multiple levels. Otherwise, things will not evolve and develop. And that was and is a fear of mine. And I can't overcome that, right? The problem is, I am an optimist at the end of the day. I like to use the word hope a lot. And for Indian football, most of the time it's hope, right? That's why I still believe that things can be changed, but we need the right leaders to come in and do the things. And at the moment, I don't see them. The people who showcase themselves as being the leaders are part of the problem. That is one thing that I see, you know. See, I remember at the start of this round, you said you believe we would qualify, and I agreed. What are your views now? Because it's not looking good for us. I still think we can do it. I still have some small belief in myself that we can still do it, and it starts with the Hong Kong game. Because as bad as we've played, but the harm has been minimal because in the first round, 2 goalless draws. So nothing has been lost. And do not forget, in 2022, when Mr. Steemach qualified us for the Asian Cup, we won 4-0 against Hong Kong in a match which should have ended 3-3 or 2-2. And I remember, as I said, Renedy has said that video clip is still available on the AIFF YouTube channel. So therefore, you don't have to play great, but you can get results. And therefore, I still think theoretically it is possible for us to get to the Asian Cup, which is insane with what we've played in recent days. But yes, sir, it is possible. Uzbekistan, Jordan make history 2026 FIFA World Cup. Yes. And that's why I'm making a video for tomorrow, is that what can Indian football learn from Uzbekistan, from Jordan, and even from Indonesia? I'm helpless. I feel desperate. I want to do something, but lack the skill for it. It's like witnessing a catastrophe and its consequences, but knowing you could have prevented the disaster. Simon, I exactly know what you feel. And I've tried, and I try to do whatever I can to help in the development of things. But I also say to myself nowadays, I'm careful, because I also know that if I'm trying to help, so therefore for me, it's not easy. I fully understand where you're coming from. If young player fails, call OCIs until proper development of coaches and grassroots. Yeah, but if we are honest, looking at the situation, I'm not even looking at today. Today the situation is bad, and I said this 20 plus years ago. OCIs will come in. OCIs will make us better. To what level they can take us, that's a different discussion. But it is not a short gap solution, in my opinion. If you do it once, it'll be there. Good to see so many new faces in the lives. Great work, sir. Thanks, Abhishek. Yeah, thanks for a reminder. Yeah, more than 53 minutes. Quick reminder, if you're liking the conversation, if you are part of this community, 25 likes so far. Thank you very, very much. Like this, share this. Let's grow. Let's speak about these things. It's good to see that people are speaking out about things. And if you're new, do subscribe to the channel. 2,614 people now. Thank you very much. Let's grow the community. Let's talk about these things. Let's try and push things in the right direction. If Manolo is good in developing players, he could be a better youth national team coach. Roshan, I think he's not a good national team coach. I think he's more of a club coach. That is my understanding. National team is used as testing ground by other countries when they used B team like Qatar did against us in last game. Even Thailand used national team as training ground for young talent. Zidane, yeah, but you have to be in a position to do that, right? In the last friendly, why do you think they keep their main players on bench? Zidane, Thailand are at a different level than we are. Very simple. So therefore, for me, we saw that our team needs to get the first team needs to get as much time as possible together, Simon says to Rushwa, we all feel Uzbekistani and Jordanian now, aren't we? Yeah, I at least for these two countries, I am very, very, so that's why. Roshan says, Anava Habas was coaching Bolivia. years ago. Isn't that a bit long ago to take reference as new national team coach? Roshan, yes, on one side, but I'd say no, because Habas has coached now more than X number of years in India, has won multiple ISL titles. He knows the system. And now also with a season in the I League, he also, I think, can judge the second tier. And he's a no-nonsense guy. So therefore, I agree with you, but he did something with Bolivia, taking them in the Copa America very, very far with limited. Bolivia has less resources than India. So that's also I mean, if the team dynamics are bad, they will never improve for a long time, though. Ayush, that is something that needs to be discussed, and that's something which someone needs to figure out, yeah? Ballon d'Or, Rafinha, CV says, played a great season, won La Liga, but is that enough to win a Ballon d'Or, would be my question. You, by mistake, missed the above Portugal-Spain winner thought of Nation League, but no commenter in this comment. Spain. Clearly, Spain is one of the best, if not the best team in the world at this moment in time. And therefore, for me, Spain clearly are favourites. What do you think about future Indian football if we cannot win Bangladesh wearing football go? Rushwa, Indian football, where it goes, doesn't go. Good question. I don't know. We all don't know. That's the crazy part, right? We think, we hope, we know what is happening, but yeah. What Indian Olympics is doing, thinking on Pierre Osea matter, what is their stance? Darshan, good point. A good question to ask Kalyan Chowbe, because Kalyan Chowbe is not only the president of the AIFF, but he's also the joint secretary of the Indian Olympic Association. And, as far as I know, certain people are for it and certain people are against it. So there is no clear stance on that. Also, he said some players fake injuries to play for club, and I observed a lot of players were getting injured during Bangladesh upcoming match when ISL players was there, including senior players. Aditya, that is something that you also say in Europe about players, that they fake injuries, or especially with Asian players suddenly picking up injuries, and the Koreans and the Japanese always say that if you can't prove it, again, I can make allegations and say this and that and everything, and some of you will believe it and then carry it forward. I don't know. That's the problem. I know that certain players are careful about it because they also see it. Listen, my livelihood is ISL. Yeah? Fancy announcement, get attention, get fake publicity, zero development. Yeah, it's been a problem for years, right? It's in this social media world. It's very, very easy to make statements, assumptions, this, that, everything, which doesn't actually help, right? So that's a problem. That's a simple problem. Sorry. Hi, Kuhil. I am good. Hope you're doing well as well. Khalid Jamil as Indian football coach. What's your opinion? Mukul, no, thank you. Knowing Khalid, not national team coach, sorry. A few years ago, India joined Uzbekistan at the same level, at least in terms of ranking. And Vipul, that's the problem. The ranking might have been the same, but India was never of an Uzbekistan level. It's just not. Uzbekistan was always better than us. Jordan, might have been not that good, but were also, as always in that sort of Oman bracket, against whom we've actually never won, right? We always lost those matches. So therefore, those teams in rankings we might have been we were better than Jordan in the rankings, but that doesn't mean we were better than Jordan. If any player do fake injury, how can one? He had serious injury or fake injury. Well, it's on the team doctor, right? I mean, injuries, and therefore that's the point. And if we've had players, we've had Ashik under Igor Stimac pick up an ACL, which was undetected by the national team doctors. So I might be also that they're unhappy with the medical treatment of that. At this rate, I firmly believe that this phase is worse than 2015 one when we lost to Guam. Yeah, we now we are in panic mode, right? Even after that Guam loss, we felt really bad and all, but we were not in panic mode. I think that's the big difference between then and now, right? So now we are in panic mode, and that is, that's harming us, I guess. There's no hunger in our boys. Vipul, yeah, that's a problem. I feel that passion, that grit, that fighting spirit. India won the SAF Cup because of that. I saw the semis and the final. Lebanon and Kuwait both were tactically better than us, but we were fighting. And now it won't work. That small factor has gone. Do you think there was an intent to execute the plans, even though failed as well? But now, why is it just to make the plans and give fans the false hope, hype, or no intent to actually execute it? Harry, surely Manolo had a plan, and Manolo tried something with a 4-4-2. You know, so therefore, for me, yeah, it's the execution which is a problem, right? Comparing 2012 and now, yeah. In 2012, the problem was, I remember I was in Goa in 2013 for a conference. They created the Goa Development Football Council at the time, and they held a conference, and Robban, amongst other people, were there, and actually asked a question on stage. I said, listen, guys, lovely plan on paper. Can we implement it? And they said themselves, we don't think so. We hope that the AIFF and the state association, the clubs will implement it, but it didn't. So the problem has always been, and I said this when Vision 2047 was introduced, looks good on paper, but as long as we can't implement it, as long as we are unable to get this over the line, nothing is going to happen. So our problem is that we, in theory, we could make a brilliant plan. Let's say I could tomorrow put out a plan in which I say, I do a plan for next 20 years and say I want to, let's say I do a plan for the next 25 years. And I say by 2050, I want India to qualify for World Cup. I could do a plan. I personally could do a plan for Indian football. And if implemented, it is doable. But with the current people involved, it is impossible. That is the problem. And a lot of people think of themselves that they are, they do stuff, Indian football, blah, 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 blah. And they're part of the problem. They're part of the solution. A lot of people, even a lot of celebrated people in Indian football, even heard a few names yesterday in Ashish's thing where I know these guys have been part of the problem. They're not part of the solution. We are corrupted people from top to bottom, says Vipul. Watch Jingan interview after the loss. He said that words cannot resonate the performances on the pitch, and the fans know that. And message to fans would be that we are giving our best. Simon, what else is he supposed to say as captain? Sorry, I said that the other day to someone who wrote that to me. I said, hey, listen, you said this and Sanjay Shingan said that. I said, nice that Sanjay said that, but to me it's very, very clear that he can't say, listen, we are crap, we are rubbish, this, that, everything. Yeah. In the past, we made a mockery of players like Prannoy, but seeing now, even 32-year-old Prannoy is better than Akara in midfield. Khalid seemed to have extreme faith in him. TFA was really something else. Oh no, I said that TFA is something else. I've said that. Been saying that. I even think, look at, we made fun of Rahul Beke. Or not we. I never made fun of Rahul Beke. I've never going to make fun of Prannoy. But people have made fun of him, right? Look at how Rahul Beke has reinvented himself. I've always said, Prannoy, Pritam Kotal, these guys, that generation, that first Indian Arrows generation, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu belongs to it, JJ belonged to it, Lalindika Ralte belonged to it. An exceptional team of football. Since when did you become part of Lion FC in the Safari Stadium? Simon, I'm not a fan of Praful Patel, but that guy was still better than the current one. What's your thoughts? Vipul, Praful Patel allowed the professionals in the AIFF run the whole thing. He was there whenever you needed him. Praful Patel got things sorted with the government. He got money from the government. He got clearances and other things. He got Reliance on board when it was needed. So Praful Patel has paid his job. So, whatever he did as minister and elsewhere doesn't matter. But for football, whenever, it was needed, he did his stuff. We are playing low-day football, says Sakir. Was Indonesia also had corruption scandals encompassed in the system when it came in 2019? Daniel, all countries have had these problems. Even successful countries have had these problems. Spain has had this problem. Brazil, Brazil, corruption in Argentina, right? In their federation, it's standard. So corruption is not a reason why football cannot work. Why Manvi, even after forming getting chance regular national team, if not newcome, or where every coach give chance him over some rates serving as a national, we don't get even chances squad. Well, because I think whoever the coach is, be it Steven, be it Igor, be it now Manolo, they rate Manvir higher than the others. Simple thing. It's a very simple thing. And a lot of players that people will say should be playing national team are not national team quality. Under 19 national football player need to go outside country, like Vijay Chitri, Manipur football player who play outside country, Kabir, and some need more player to go outside, improve them, give opportunity. Yeah, but who wants to go? I mean, Vijay Chitri is gone. I hope he makes the breakthrough in Uruguay and Cologne. Kabir has gone to Andorra, but again, are they playing a level that they can come back and play for the national team after that? That's the next question. We should complete focus on U17 and 20, make a full-fledged league for them and give them a max salary of 5 to 10 lakhs if they want to earn more than go to Europe. Rithik, nice thought, but who's going to take our players abroad? And who's going to give them the money that you're saying that they should be getting? We should just let knowledgeable people from Europe and give them free hand without bringing in OCP, at least for football. Zidane, not going to work. Knowledgeable people need the guidance. PI OCIs to me has been for a long time. Now even many people are saying give new player a chance. Ranjan Dutta says anyway, keep him on losing. Yeah. What's wrong with Indian football? What's right with Indian football? Prabal, I don't know what's right at the moment with Indian football. Wrong, though we can, yeah. So, yeah. Unless a youth players play at lower league of Europe and getting game time rather than warm pension, I say no player development is going to happen. Yeah, but again, Rithik, as someone who has enabled trials and possibilities in Europe, right, to Indian players, the quality at the moment is so bad that outside of the national team, young Indian footballers will not get a chance in Europe. And otherwise they would get a chance in Europe where they would be amateurs, not even semi-pros. So they will not get a contract. We need to accept that at the moment, Indian football standard is so poor, and perceived to be also poor, that there is no pathway into Europe, a real realistic pathway for players. And I say this as someone who's created those pathways in the past. We need to wake up to that reality. It's great, but we are not getting our players in. Hi, Kumar. I also root for Habas, but is he ready to bring back the dead to life or just another Igor? Zidane, first of all, we need to check if he wants the job now, after what happened last time around. Yeah. I don't think Habas would be another Igor. Habas is a different beast. Don't compare him with that. Is some club made pressure on players not to join national team because of risk of injury? Is true or not? Well, not pressure, but the players know, see, there is this whole Ashik Kurunian thing, which we should not get, that Ashik Kurunian picked up an ACL injury in the national team. It was not treated. And only after he returned to Mohun Bagan, the doctors realized he had an ACL. I think there is a distrust in the medical department of the national team. I think that's something, you doubt Ashish Negi. He said, I have to expose Indian football system even though they come after me. XYZ, a lot of things that Ashish just said is things that I've been saying for the last, I don't know, donkey's years. Right? A lot of things is it new? Those who've been watching this channel now for for a certain period of time, would you say that all of it was new? The agent nexus and all that stuff, yeah, that is something which I haven't spoken about. But the other things, a lot of the things is what has been spoken over here, right? So, and of course, he's been critical of other people who are actually doing the bidding of clubs, of players, of agents, of the AIFF in regard to stories which are going out. Into football were not even playing or lacking intent on pitch. Now we know why. Reason for grouping. Toxic dressing room, we know, and it's showing on pitch. Talent, skill is not reason. Talent and skill is a reason, of course. Prabal, that there, and I've said this now for a while, that there has been a problem in the national team, clearly evident. Even during success in 2023, things were not hunky-dory. But we lack talent, we lack tactical acumen, we lack skill. We look, the basics, that's the reality. The national team players' age should be below 26, 25. Our aged players can't pass, can't score goal, can't dribble, can't score 1:1 situation. So whole team should be changed with young lads. Kishore, have you seen our young lads recently? My simple question is, are we fine to let's say we make our under 23s on national team? Are you fine losing 5, 6, 7, 8-0? Simple question. Are Indian football fans willing to suffer if we're feeling bad after a 2-0 loss to Thailand? Are you fine to lose by a higher margin? Simple question for myself. Very simple question. And I know a lot of people say yes, but once that team loses 5, 6, 7, 8-0, then people say, oh, you know what, we should actually get the older ones. It's the same discussion about Vishal Keth and Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. Very simple. I've said that. Vishal Keth to me is not an India number one. Gurpreet, with all the faults, all the mistakes, he's the best of the whole lot. Period. That is the reality. Honestly speaking, as Mr. Kalan Chavina, anything positive during his time, we failed to meet almost 100% of all objectives of the long lists of targets we completed in 2026. Simon, I wouldn't know anything positive. I mean, if anyone knows something positive, yeah. Even our United batch is not good. The gameplay was appalling. How does a Bangladesh United team in this current scenario with such limited resources play quite good against us? Oh no, that's my point. I just mentioned, right? We want younger players to play, but the player talent base. Why do I say again and again and again that we have a talent problem? The pool is very, very limited. And if you want, if there are players playing in the national team who would not even get close to the national team 10, 15, 20 years ago. This is, and yeah. So therefore, for me, this is a real crisis. That despite all the problems, in 2015 at least, we knew the under-17s are preparing for the under-17 World Cup. You know what? With my help, the German Dave Bay helped. We at least were able to get Nico Adam and were able to do stuff. At the moment, the under-17s is bad and they don't get even exposure. So where is the talent going? It is on the clubs and the academies and Indian coaches. We should question Indian coaches left, right, and center. This is our biggest problem. They need to develop the talent. Someone spoke to me yesterday. He's got a 7-year-old kid and he says, listen, I want to play football. He's from Kolkata. He says, the football coaching, he said, even national team players, he said the level of coaching is so poor. He doesn't know what to do with his son. He says, I would like to give my son appropriate training and he can't do that. We need proper football stadiums, not cricket-related stadiums modified. That is my least of my worries. We have infrastructure. As long as we have stadiums, these big stadiums is good. Only 2 or 3 players show enthusiasm to play for national team. Rest only go for holiday. We need a starting them with all new faces, less talent, but at least show nationalism and play for the country. Ritik, okay, good point. My point is, find those 11 players. Because those who are in that pool of 40, 50, 60 players eligible for the national team. The problem that you have with the current players will be also with the new ones coming in. It's a systematic problem. It's a systematic problem. Haven't we, over the last 2-3 years, been replacing players here, there, and then we thought, oh, we'll get this and that. We've been getting worse. So where are the replacements? Why are we still playing a 40-year-old Sunil Chhetri? Because the other strikers are rubbish. Sorry, let's call it out. Baichung Bhutia most probably would be better than the ones who are playing at the moment at ISL I-League level. Yeah? This is the real problem. Do you think any loser Babus will come again as the president and have a much worse dream? I don't know. Then I can't speculate. I don't know who's going to come. Let's wait and see. Can Juan Ferrando be a good option for national coach? No, Vipul, because Juan Ferrando at Mohun Bagan proved that he demands too much of his players. And if he's failed at Mohun Bagan, he will fail even more with the national team. So therefore, as good as Juan is as a coach, but it doesn't work for me. Most of those who want to play for the country can retire from national team. We will be highly grateful. Yeah, but who are those? I always hear speculations. I don't know even. I've heard names, multiple names. Back to square one. Yeah, Dinesh, that's the problem. But Changte Vikram injured in national team, but after just some days they get fit in club. Everyone says, so how can player get so fast recover? Or is it a case of fake injury? Tell us, please. Kuhil, you had 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks from the date of the last ISL League game of Mumbai City. I think it was 16, 17 days. And their ISL playoff game in Bangalore. So now you could be injured for 10 days. Let's say you've got some muscular issue. That's normally an 8 to 10 day, maybe even a 14-day issue. Now, if you saw Changte and Vikram play against BFC where Mumbai City lost really, really badly, yes, they did play. Where they fit? No, they weren't. So that to me shows that if you say that they faked an injury, no, they didn't fake an injury. They decided with the doctors to say, listen, I'm not ready to play against the Maldives and Bangladesh, but I'll try to get fit a few days later. Interpret it that way. So all that, that's the thing. Let's be realistic on this. Some of these things, people are creating stories left, right, and center. Let's stick to facts. If you don't know something, do not speculate, because that is hurting Indian football as well. Because a lot of people are speculating left, right, and center with no knowledge at all, with no understanding at all. This is also hurting Indian footballers. Indian football is being hurt. This is something where I say that also content creators have a duty towards Indian football and not to themselves. Be honest. And don't say things because you have to say it, otherwise people will not view or whatever. Right? Be honest. I've always been very clear what I've said. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, that's my problem. But I'll be as honest as I can. So at this point, would a ban help in performing an open heart surgery of the AIFF? Simon, the question is who comes? To me, ban, no ban, I don't know. But I think a ban would be good from a standpoint that then the government maybe also wakes up and realizes, guys, because the government is also at fault that Kalyan Chaubey is there. They pushed him in, right? So that's a reality. We need more and more all-natural grass training pitches, not only for teams, but for locals, not to be built once and left, but need to be well-maintained and with good grass management. CV with Indian weather conditions, natural grass grounds. I've seen that in other parts of the world, right, where they say the same thing. For example, in Scandinavia, tons of artificial turf pitches, even top level in Norway, for example, Viking Stavanger, their stadium is an artificial turf pitch or a hybrid artificial turf pitch. Why? Because they can't maintain it. So we need to live with the realities. Indian football grounds maintenance for a whole year, not happening. Coach is not the problem. Definitely federation current players. Coach is also the problem, Dinesh, because wrong tactics, wrong players called up, wrong players put in the starting level. How can we expect different results from the AIFF and players? I feel the coach is not the problem. Can Mono start working with the under-23 team? Vipul Manolo is most probably leaving next week, so he's working with nobody. I think, and if you think that the under-23s are going to do something miraculously better than the current national team, I hope so, but I don't think so. State of Indian football is that many diehard are stopped supporting and youth who cover Indian football are now focusing European football. Blame goes to Indian football team and Kalyan Chowdhury. Average footy, I have a different opinion on this, especially now in this situation. They need to support Indian football. They need to call it out. Those who are leaving Indian football now, and I say this as someone who's for the last 27 plus years been watching, writing, speaking about Indian football. I could have left long back, but I'm still there. I will support Indian football till the day I die. Will I do this always? I don't know. But if I have the time, even today, again, I'm going to go and play myself football a little later in a charity tournament, right? I will play football myself. I could have used this afternoon as a different preparation, maybe slept for a couple of hours, prepared myself, be like a pro, right? No, but I want to have this interaction with you guys. Those who are leaving Indian football, again, I understand it, but you should now be there and calling the things out. And Indian football supporters should be there for Indian football. Content creators need to be there for Indian football. But to say boycott and all that stuff, BS. What? Who cares if you do a boycott or not? Or now with these plans are okay to be on the paper or on the parallel universe, however, there should be monthly report by the person expert football team who is not connected to the football ecosystem. Kumar, monthly reports don't work. It depends on what it is. If you want, there are certain things you could actually track monthly. There are things that you need to track quarterly. There are things that you track every year. There are different things. SV Sports Extreme says, my opinion, Indian men's football nationally is not going anywhere in the next 100 years. This is possible only in India. Sad with this type of money, power, corruption. We only think about ourselves. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, but I hope you're wrong on the 100 years. Bruno has the zeal, but current 3-4 crore midfielders don't have that. Bruno could be technically less impressive. Monak, you raise a very important point. I've known Prannoy now since his Arrows days. And weirdly, that Arrows team, that core team, as I said, Gurpreet in goal, Pritam Kotal, Probir Das, Prannoy Haldar, Lal Dindika Ralte, JJ, Shilton De Silva. That team was different. Yeah. Colm Toll did an excellent job with those boys. And that is missing. I don't know. I feel the team is going through the motions. I'm there, I'm playing physically, but I'm not there with my heart. I'm not there with my soul. And if you're not there with that, that is where I feel in the last few months Manolo has failed. When Manolo has not been able to get to the player's heart, to get to the soul, to understand you're playing for that India badge. That is where Manolo has not been able to get the best out of this team. And that is, it's very, very, very sad, I would say, that we are there where we are today, right? We've gone backward. Closing in Arrows was a big mistake. I think huge mistake. I said that on the first time when they closed it, and then they restarted it after the Under-17 World Cup. Fans also problem in football. I mean, they don't care about one player represent national team. Instead, they only care about club X Anwar case. Trolling him, but they don't see his national team. Yeah, but also people defending the performances of the players, right? Will Profit come back? Don't think so. Do you think if we get a decent running AIFF, we would be in much better position in future? Rena, theoretically, yes and no. I told you yesterday, right, that the success of Indian football doesn't depend on what the AIFF does or doesn't do, you know. And therefore, for me, yeah, right people need to be there, and that's not the case. Manveer and Gunnar should be banned from playing in the national team. Both are not fit to play state 3 division, and this is, yeah, couldn't can't agree to that. I think Ashik Kurunin is one of those players with the attitude, yeah, and Manveer is a problem, but it's indefensible. I would have anyway started, with Chanke. But even Manveer is not national team level quality. So many times performs bad national team, and how many times I will get chance even after performing bad? Well, it's a point, but yeah, Chanke is that the guy. Huh? Can't we come together protesting against the AIFF in Delhi? People, please do organize a protest, get people together, protest. But what is the impact going to be? That's my question. Social media protest is, useless. Content creator protest is useless. Protest in the media is useless. Nothing has happened, right? And yeah, do a protest, organize it, call it out, call people. I'll support you. Yeah, I will give you a platform here, guys, if you want to. Clubs who have money problem will say to follow salary cap. Those who have money try to evade it, but where is FSL that all the clubs that are evading under the nose what should be done? Harry, you will not be able to implement a salary cap in India. Let's say I'm XYZ club and I have money to spend. You have a certain salary cap. I'll give you a sponsorship deal through XYZ, and then I don't know what. I'll gift you a flat or whatever. There are means and ways to go around the salary cap in an Indian. With the whole jugaad culture in India, you will not be able to implement a salary cap. What surprised me the most that the Indian team who beat Thailand had significantly worse players than this one, and we stashed them. Now we are battered. The problem intent and system. Simon, you are making the 2019 team worse than they were, and you're making this team better than they are. Don't forget, agents are also main reason why youth players' career has been destroyed. Average footy, you know what? I hear this a lot. And yes, for some, it is an issue. But with others, I know that an agent has advised a player to go, let's say, to an I-League club. For an ISL team. So it is also on the players. It is the agents can be a problem, the players can be a problem, the clubs, the academies can be a problem, the AIFF can be a problem. The whole system, the coaches, everybody, even families, parents. I know players where I know a big player. I used to work with him, who said, you know what? I was transferred by my brothers because they were representing me and I didn't want to do the transfers. Happens. Indian football is going to end. Gopo, I don't think so that will happen. CBI and SAI should enforce rules on agents who are destroying Indian football. Average footy, they don't have any access. The SAI itself is a problem. Didn't Ashish Negi say that? That's a problem. I don't want to name clubs, but this year that self-proclaimed best club played final U15 and played some high quality. Previous year 15 where I played was by far better. Yeah, but even Reliance Foundation, right? Cutting down on cost. Hi there, we shall overcome. Definitely just going through a phase. I feel we lack a certain plan on and off the field. Hi, Jordan. Good to see you, man. Have not been in touch in a while. Hope you're doing good. Yeah. I hope you are right. I hope you are very, very right, and that things change. Only few good things I can remember Indian football: win against Kuwait, draw against Qatar, and good performance back in Asian Cup. Yeah. Some other things also in the past were good. Another, I can't have ACL left knee. Ooh, Kumar, best wishes. I consulted 3 orthopedic and orthoscopic doctors. They said I have to undergo surgery at some stage in life, but not an emergency. When you feel the pain is heavy, you can go immediately surgery. This ACL tear happened due to accident after I got pain and burning sensation in my knee. I thought it's not due to too much stress on knee. Sometimes physio cannot find the reason for fascic pain, or the medical team think, well, the player side problem should be there and all above. Kumar, I understand what you're trying to come from, but if I am a physio of a national, I've had this with the son of a friend was having problems, and I guessed quite early on. I thought, I think it's an ACL, and the physio said, no, it's not. And then he got checked, and it was an ACL, and the boy wasted 6 months of sort of conservative therapy, and then had to have an operation. If you have a good one, someone will always tell you what it is. So, best wishes. I would always say with an ACL, depending on if you've done an MRI and all, how it is, how the ligaments are torn, because they either could also grow together. If it's not a proper tear and all, I would say get the operation done as soon as possible and get it out of the way. At least we can get someone who is better than Liston Manvir. Ritik, tell me who's better than Liston Manvir. That's your problem, right? Okay, Manvir, I can say, Chante. But then Liston, what? You're going to play Ashik? Are you going to play? Who are you going to play? Do you think there should be separate salary caps for Indians and foreigners to restrict Indian players to get overpaid? Is this good thought or is it possible? No. Salary cap will not work. Salary cap will not work. Good evening, Kieran Rare. Who's going to be the next coach in the team of Hong Kong? I have no clue. Should we call Baichung Nazwi like we did with Sunil? Yeah, I would. I think Bhutia, Renedy, and some of the others are actually quite good form. Hi, Mayank. Stephen or Ashley should be next. I don't think Stephen will come back, and Ashley is struggling in Hong Kong, supposedly, I've been told. Bring Albert Roca as national team coach, or else someone like Habas. I don't think Albert Roca. No, again, rare. I want someone new to come in. Ashish Negi looked really hurt and frustrated with Indian football, and rightfully so. He is welcome. I would say welcome to the club. I've been doing this now for 27 years, and these lows come more often than not. I've had days where I thought, why bother, do something else. Indian football, why are you trying to do this? And the problem is that we've moved back so much. It just hurts to see where we are at this moment in time. And I feel with Ashish, because he's been there now. He has a company, he has people working, he has to fund the whole thing. Don't want to change with him. But huge respect that he put that thing out, and let's see. Do not waste time, guys. Focus on your things. Enjoy life. I also danger there will be no football in India anymore. AIFF and the government are not serious with football. People, let's wait and see. Some sort of football will happen. Even if you raise our voices, nothing will change. Yeah, I would think it will not. But the question is, if even a small protest, let's say 50 people turn up and go to Football House and do a protest, a banner protest, or let's say even a silent protest, I think there would be somewhat of an impact, because then maybe the mainstream media wakes up to this fact. This is what Ashish also yesterday said very, very clearly. The mainstream media doesn't care. I used to do work for the mainstream media. I was interviewed in the past. They don't care. They don't even care about European football these days, right? So they're not bothered. The answer is that we're not particularly good at sports overall. We could be better if the system was better overall. Now we heard about this Indian boy left to Poland, second-tier Poland. Roshan, if you're saying that, yes, someone has joined a team of a second-tier Polish team, but playing with their B team, which is a fifth-tier team. Some players perform good in club, then get second national, then perform bad national, then again perform good in ISL. This cycle continues year by year for some players. What can we make to stop this cycle? Very simply, some of these players are good at club level because they're playing with foreigners. This is, I think, the reality. The Indian football community, as little may it be, is already dwindling, and with the ongoing distrust and lack of ownership among us will cause further loss. Simon, that's a big danger, and I think that is a very good point that Ashish spoke about yesterday, that that people fall back and support their own teams and this and that and everything. No, we need to be all together. We need to fight this together, and otherwise nothing will change. Cricket is a business, and I don't view it as a sport. Vipul, I think sport overall in the world is a business these days. So, yeah. So it's high time that we stand united and speak the truth and be honest. Yes, Simon, very good. We need OCS as soon as possible. Once this state and national team are one, boys will get to know how tough honor selection will be then. Yes, agree. Cricket should be stopped in India at least for 10 years, then the other sports improved. Jay, don't blame it on cricket. Cricket is. I spoke to someone this morning who's worked a long time in cricket. Let cricket survive, and we need to look at ourselves. We don't need to look at other sports. I've seen artificial turf in Tromsø in winter. It gets covered with thick snow during that period of time. They remove snow and play there. They play good quality of football there. Yes, Tromsø, Stavanger, I've seen myself. If not Kalyan, who would you like to see in his place? Please let us know. People, I've got 2 or 3 people that I think could be candidates. I'm not going to discuss their names publicly because I've told actually 2 of them that I think you should be running for the top post of the AIFF, and I would rather let that be happening in the background rather than putting it out in the public domain. And then if AIFF wants to make proper impact with Arrow's project, or FIFA should get to know how from Uzbek the aged it with the Olympic team. Roshan, yeah, but I think we need to start earlier. The Arrows project is a finishing touch. The FIFA Academy is something which FIFA is doing around the world. I think we need to start at grassroots level. That's our main work. Ornada, who cares about fans' opinion? Do anyone really listen to what fans are saying? Why not? You know, maybe I'm listening, but yeah, other people very difficult at this moment in time, right? Why Ranju is doing some stunts, do you know, is a good person to work on in football. Abhishek, the less I say about him, I think says it all. Stunts. Kohil, even one Mangatsubinan fans defending player just because some player for them, this type of club favor over national team was a problem. Yeah, very, very right. The Indian team to us who defeated Thailand are technically not better than current team, but they had the will and dedication to fight for the win, which is currently lacking in the current team. Red Apple, I partially agree, but I think they are better than what we thought they are. I mean, I was there. I couldn't believe what I saw in that second half against Thailand. That was really, really good. And even the first 30 minutes against the UAE. Think about Ashik in the form against the UAE yesterday. Day before yesterday. You would have scored against Thailand. Guys, I slowly have to come to an end. I see you've got still a lot of opinions from you guys. But I need to head for my football game. Thanks for doing this. It was a little earlier than planned, but it worked. Thanks a lot for that. Once more reminder, do like, share, subscribe, arunfoot here on YouTube. Watch the other videos. Tomorrow I'll do something on Uzbekistan, Jordan, and Indonesia. Yeah. And please, my big request to you all, don't stop supporting Indian football. Let's grow the community. Let's talk about these things. We need to talk about these things. Otherwise, Indian football is dead. And we need everyone, and it's a struggle. It's not easy at this moment in time, and I get that. But we all need to, don't lose hope. I know hope is the last thing that we have. And let's keep it together. And yeah, not much to add. Thanks as always for watching. As I said, I'll be playing football myself tonight. Got football over the weekend, so most probably not back with another live before Monday. But keep watching the channel, and thanks as always for your support. And don't stop supporting Indian football, guys. Do not stop supporting Indian football. We need your support. Don't boycott.